What's up everybody? My name is Akira and welcome to my little corner of YouTube where I get to share my relationship with Christ and everything that I'm learning as far as being a photographer and videographer, and just my journey in life, my journey in general. And today's topic is gratitude, and I'm sorry if you hear the world around me, but we had to go with camera audio today because technology was being kind of wonky. So that's just a little preface, a little thing to keep in mind as you keep listening. I'm gonna try my best to edit it out, but the Lord wants this out, and the warfare has been crazy. So we're just gonna roll with what we got here. And without further ado, without further words, let's get into today's topic, which is gratitude. Let's talk about it. In Psalms it says, enter into his house with thankfulness, thanksgiving, and just praise. And many times in our life, in our walk, we can get caught up in all of these things and we forget to be grateful. You know, my pastor said a couple of weeks ago that being grateful is something that we need to keep in mind and we need to keep doing every single day. It's on a daily basis. And gratitude is what leads to miracles. You know, when Jesus was about to feed the 5,000, he raised the loaves of bread and the fish, and he raised it up and he basically just said thanks. He said thanks for what he had. He wanted to give thanks for what he had at that moment, and God multiplied that. And we have to also be like Jesus in that. We have to give thanks for what we have right now. Even when it comes to the technical difficulties I have this morning, you know, I have to give thanks because I have something to film with. It's not like I don't have anything to film with. And I have a place where I can call home. You know, I have, all of these things. And many times we can get caught in comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy, but it's also the thief of blessing. Because we're so caught up in what we want in the future, what we would want, our relationships and our work. But we have to be thankful for what we have now. When we get caught in comparison can lead us sometimes, we're devaluing ourselves, devaluing what the Lord has done in our lives, what the Lord has given us in our lives. We're devaluing it and we're putting value into somebody else. There's a devotional by Jackie L. Perry that I was reading as well, where it's like we're devaluing what we're considering God as almost like he's not fair. Like he's not a fair God because he's giving somebody else what you want. But for somebody else that could be a blessing. For you in this season, it could be a curse. And that's something I had to sit with because it can be a curse for you. Many times, like Deborah B explained this a couple of weeks ago as well, where it's like she wanted a boyfriend so bad, and I've been in that place as well, wanted a boyfriend so bad in a season, but she wouldn't be where she is now if God gave her that boyfriend. And that's similar to me, I would want a boyfriend. I would want all of these things. I would want like all of this stuff for my career, all of this equipment, all of these things. But many times that can be a curse because we're not prepared for that. God has to prepare you for what he has for you, because what he has for you ultimately is not going to be what he has for another person. You have to be grateful for where you are. What I've learned in this walk is that the Lord answers prayers, but he's not going to answer them in the way that you want them to be answered most of the time. There's prayers that I prayed and he took a whole 360 out of what I was thinking, because one thing we have to remember is that he's beyond our thoughts. He's beyond our past. His paths are not our paths. His thoughts are not our thoughts. It's something that's beyond us and above us. And when we sit in that, when we realize that, we have to hold life with an open hand. We have to be grateful for what we have. Grateful for the time that we have with our family. Grateful for the time that we have in our jobs, no matter how crappy they may be for us. But that's a blessing. The Lord is giving you that job so you can put food on the table for your family. Giving you that job so you can, finance some things. When we're thankful for what we got, things happen. Things move. But we have to be thankful. We can't let comparison to the blessings of other people, to the situations of other people. Other people have other journeys. Other people have other journeys, other things that they go through. We can't let that comparison lead us to complacency. What complacency means is that we're not willing to grow. We think that we reached the mark already and we're not going to get past that. God has so much more for you. If you're in a place of complacency, that came out of comparison, that came out of thoughts and doubts that the enemy put in your mind, I need you to know that God has a lot more for you. Just because you don't see it now, just because you don't see it in your presence, that doesn't mean that it's not beyond this, beyond your gratefulness. On the other side of gratefulness, there's something waiting for you, something beautiful, and you just have to hold on to that. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, it says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So rejoice always. It's difficult for us to do that when we're in a slump, when we're in trouble, we're in the hospital, when we're, going through all these trials and tribulations. It's tough for us to rejoice. But Paul says it right here in the letter to Thessalonians. When things get hard, when things get rough, it's because God is going to do something great. God is going to do something beyond us. Ephesians 3:20. God is going to do something beyond our imagination, beyond anything we can think up or imagine. We have to rejoice because when we're in the fire, when we're being drilled, that's God preparing us. That's a preparing. When it says pray continually, when you pray, realize who you're praying to. Realize the power that comes with that person that you're praying to, that has a name above all names. He resurrected on the third day and was given authority in hell, in earth, in heaven, above all things. He is sovereign above all things. That is who you're praying to. When he puts his favor on you, it doesn't matter what you're going through. The Lord is going to turn it around for your good. The Lord is going to turn it around for your favor. But you have to pray continually. Have a conversation. It's not a thing that you recite every single time. Like, it's not a script that you say every single time. To pray is to have a conversation. Just like I'm having right now with you guys. Just like you have with your family, with your friends. It's a conversation. And many times I've seen people in the church that don't know how to pray. They don't know how to pray. They either don't know how to pray or they think prayer is all about these grandiose words and just greater vocabulary. Like if that's going to get them to heaven sooner. It's not about that. It's about being raw and honest and vulnerable with the Lord. It's about bringing all of you to a prayer. All of you to your secret place. Even if your secret place is in your room, by your bed, it doesn't matter. The Lord wants all of you. I had a conversation with my little sister yesterday where she was talking to me about one of her friends and how she wants him to come to church because he's going through some trouble at home. And he's going through like a depression and just, suicidal thoughts and all these different things. And my sister went through a season where she had that. She went through that so she can help other people, so she can be that light. She discovered that light for herself, and now she can go ahead and take that torch and bring it to other people who are in darkness. Like the disciples and Jesus and all of these missionaries that would go to the outskirts of the city, which was where everybody who was marginalized was. And they took that word with them. They took that hope. They took that peace. They took that love. We have to be grateful for where we are. Because somewhere along the line, what we learn in this season is going to be what we take to other people. It's going to be what God is going to use to other people or for other people, for the betterment of other people. In John 16:20, it says, very truly I tell you, you will weep and mourn, while the world rejoices. You will grieve, but your grief will turn to joy. If you lean into his word, all of these things that are quote-unquote bad or quote-unquote difficult, all of your grief is going to turn to joy. If you are grateful in that season, it's going to turn to joy. In Ecclesiastes 3, it says, There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen for them? So there's a couple things happening in this chapter. First thing it says, there's a time for literally everything. That ties into what we read in John, where it's like there's a time to mourn, but then your grief will turn to joy. He has made everything beautiful in his time. We have to be focused on eternity. We can't be focused on things of the earth. We have to be focused on things of above, things that come from the Lord. Every good thing comes from him. Therefore, when we focus on him, good things are going to come. This back here, by summertime, by the end of spring, beginning of summer, is going to be filled with leaves, and it's going to be filled with all of these things. Right now it's a little dry. But you can see it's trying to get life. It's trying to be back to life. It's starting to get green again. It's going to take some time for the entire creek to bloom. His timing is perfect. His timing is everything that we need to follow. And it can get stressful sometimes. But when we follow him, when we lean into him in the times where we feel like we're behind, because we see everybody doing all of these great things, we see everybody doing good in life, and you feel like you're not doing good, lean into him with that. Don't just sit there and let the enemy put all these thoughts in your mind. Lean into the Lord, because he makes everything beautiful in his time. What God is going to do in your life, it's going to blow your mind. My little sister was saying yesterday, we were watching some memes, we were seeing some memes on Pinterest, and she pointed one out and she's like, this is how I feel. And the meme was like a person just there, like sitting, and the caption was, when I think of all the things that the Lord has done for me, it's too many to count, so I just sit there and say thank you. And in that gratefulness, we worship. In that gratefulness, we exhibit God's love for humanity, for other people in our lives, and other people that God brings into our lives. When God makes something beautiful, when God does something, that something is going to persevere. It's going to stand the test of time. When God is taking his time with you, God is taking his time with what he's doing in your life, that means it's going to be something permanent. That means it's going to be something that the Lord is doing all the way from the inside, and that's going to be permanent. It's going to stand the test of time. We have to focus on our race. We have to focus on what we are called to do for the Lord. What he has in our plate, that's what we focus on. We're not looking to the side. We're not comparing. The Lord didn't call us to compare, but he called us to focus. There's a tree outside my window, and this spring there's been a bee that's been in that tree, and it comes out in the morning. I was wondering what that bee was called. When I looked it up, it's called the carpenter bee. Just by the name of it, I was like, oh, okay. The Lord's trying to teach me something here. What that bee does, the reason it's called the carpenter bee, it's because it digs inside the wood, like an inch inside the wood, an inch or two inside the wood, And inside the wood, that's where it lays the eggs. And then it brings, nectar and all these things to like cover the eggs. That way that when the eggs hatch, they eat and they're like ready to, in time go out. But one thing that caught my attention is that they use this, they dig the holes in the weathered wood after they leave and after the larva leaves and it's fully grown and all these things. Those holes can be used by other bees and other species. So these holes that we're experiencing, sometimes we think we're in a hole and the Lord is digging and drilling and pruning and putting us in a process, but these holes are ultimately going to be filled with Him. That parable of cleaning the house, it has to be filled with Him. Otherwise it's going to get filled with all the other stuff that we don't want it to get filled with. When God drills us, when God basically makes space, makes room, and He fills us with Him, other people can benefit from that. And that's what happened at the cross. Jesus Himself, the Lord, Son of God, allowed Himself to be drilled. He allowed Himself to be put in a position where He could be drilled for our sake. He wasn't benefiting from it. What held Him up in that cross was love. It wasn't the nails. It was love. You and I, your mom, your dad, generations after Him. It was after the fact, after Him, after He resurrected. It was done. It was a done deal. And now, as followers of Him, we deny ourselves and we let ourselves be drilled by the Holy Spirit for others to benefit. We focus on that and we're grateful, and that's all we need. And with all that said, that is all I have for you guys today. Hey everybody, post-production Akira here. I just wanted to pop on here and say I am sorry for the technical difficulties. It's been a lot of warfare, but I hope that this video encourages you in your walk with Christ. I hope that it helps you, just introspect on that aspect of gratitude and being grateful. I hope that you have a great week, and yeah, nos vemos. Peace out. Bye.